Right, guys, welcome back for a new video. So what we're going to be doing today with Nathan is talking about the next Celtic manager to see who is possibly ready to step up to the mark and take Celtic on to win the title next year. So there's a lot of candidates flying around the air, rumours speculating everywhere. It's a nice wee rhyme there, actually. Did you hear that?
What one?
I said there's a lot of candidates flying around the air, rumours and speculation shining everywhere.
You could be a lot.
I thought that was quite a good tune, actually. So the big names to talk about is, well, firstly, what I'm going to do is ask yourself who you personally want as your favourite to come in and why.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll go through the other speculation to the other kind of managers. It's a possibility to come in. Obviously, there's not been a lot of accurate speculation. There's no proof of somebody talking to anyone or anything like that yet. There's not really anything concrete yet, but just off the top of your head, who would you want out of the possible guys that's going to come in?
I think out of the sort of favourites, I would like Eddie Howe.
How?
Right,
No,
Eddie Howe.
Why?
Just, I think if we are going to go down the route of getting a sporting director and trying to sort of play, like sort of try and improve our youth and sort of like, because Celtic have got a lot of players in their youth system that are top players that end up just going away to bigger clubs, and we tend to ruin quite a lot of players. And I think if we want to make the most of our youth, because I can't really remember in the past few years the last time we've actually had a breakout star that's wanted to stay here. Like, you know, everybody, well, apart from maybe like Tierney, he would have probably stayed, but like a lot of players tend to disappear and fall away because we tend to sort of ruin them a wee bit. Don't get me wrong, we do bring out quite a lot of good talent, but I think Eddie Howe would give us a lot more young players in the team rather than us going down, because right now we seem to be going down this route of a team in the Premier League will bring in, for talk's sake, Southampton, Leicester, something like that, might sign a player for like £14 million, which is nothing to them, and then they'll punt him out on loan up to Celtic so he gets European experience. We'll have him for 2 years, we'll rely on him so much, and then the minute he's gone, we're trying to fill that void with whatever we can, and like we could go back to producing those players and punting them away for like £14-15 million.
Mm-hmm. So Eddie Howe's your final say? That's who you want to have?
I think if we're going down that route, I would have Eddie Howe. If we didn't go down that route and we were trying to bring in a big name, in a way, a lot of people are talking about Benitez, Martinez, stuff like that. I wouldn't. I actually think that Dan Petrescu, the boy that was with Cluj, who's recently been linked with us, I think he would be quite a good manager as well to go down the route again.
Well, it depends what kind of route we want to go down. Do we get a manager that's proven who's going to just basically win the title next year, or do we get someone that's going to, like you said, build for the next couple of seasons? And I'm not saying the setting option would mean that we don't win the league next year. It would just be a work in progress, or do we react straight away and get a manager in here that's going to just do the job?
If we get a manager like Eddie Howe and stuff like that, I couldn't see us winning the league next season. I think he'd be a great manager in the long run, but I don't see us winning the league. If we get like a big manager, we're going to win the league. Say for talking's sake, Benitez did come to us. They did. I can't see Benitez coming to us and Celtic turn around to Benitez and going, right, we're going to give you this money. And they probably would give him a fair bit of money to bring in his own players because Celtic have the money there. But they're not going to allow Benitez to go out and spend 15 million on one player. They might allow him to spend 15 million on 4 players, but not one. And that's going to be a wee bit more difficult because even Benitez at Newcastle, even though Mike Ashley was holding on to a lot of the funds, he was still bringing in players that each player was probably worth about 12 to 15 million, which is what isn't that big for a Premier League team, but it's a lot bigger than what Celtic are going to spend on one player.
Aye, I know. Well, the possible links, of course, as you know, Eddie Howe, I agree with. He would be my first choice, but there's not been any proper speculation in that. The only closest thing we've got to it is Hugh Keevins on Clyde 1. And he said that he could confirm, obviously considering he's got a lot of contacts, he could confirm that Celtic have spoke to Eddie Howe. However, there's been a few English clubs that spoke to him as well. So it really comes down to what English team spoke to him. Whether he prefers the Celtic job or not, I totally agree that he would be the best guy for us. I think that under Eddie Howe, we would have a possibility of winning the league next year. But on the long run, it would be better for us, for producing young players and building a team spirit. And when we come up against a team, for example, in Europe, one thing he never does is shy away. He always goes out full attack. He done that with Bournemouth. Do you know what I mean? And regardless of how weak their team came across, because of the confidence he put into them to go forward and go against these big teams, he got results. So Eddie Howe would be my first choice. Now, there's speculation of many names, like you said, Rafa Benitez. I don't, as much as he's a big name in that, I don't think Rafa Benitez would suit being at Celtic at all. Benitez, there's talk of Henrik Larsson possibly, which I'll get to. There's talk of, obviously, like you said, Martinez. And there's also talk of one that nobody's really mentioned, right? And he got sacked, I think it was last week or so. It's a guy that used to be linked to us years ago. Slaven Bilic.
I know you were going to say Bilic, because every single time we were going for a new manager, it was always about 4 or 5 to 1 for the Celtic job.
That's the thing. He's a possibility as well. And I know he didn't do exactly excellent at West Brom, but as a manager, he's firm and he would maybe do the job as well. I'm not saying he's my favourite choice because he's no, but if we ended up with him, I wouldn't exactly be upset. It could be a lot worse. But
very similar to Benitez, but he's very defensive minded. And I couldn't imagine.
That's what we don't want. That's what I'm saying.
If the Greenwood came into Celtic Park and all the fans were back at Celtic Park, it was your first day back of the season, and we line up to play Hamilton Accies and we're playing a 5-4-1, I don't think the Celtic fans are going to react too well to that.
Oh, I know. Play for the draw, troops. Play for the draw. But
tough.
No, you've got other ones such as Terry Henry is speculated. Can't see it happening, but you never know. Frank Lampard, Steve Clarke as well for a pre-contract, but realistically, I can't see that happening. And two, I don't want to see it happen because, of course, like the Scotland situation now, I don't want to see him leave Scotland. But
then again, Avram Grant coached, was it Chelsea and Russia at the same time? Or was it Avram Grant?
Did he do both?
I can't mind if it was Avram. I'm sure it was Avram Grant. I'm sure.
I couldn't get him. You'd want a manager that's going to come in that's going to focus on just the team itself, especially the circumstances now. But going back to the Henrik Larsson one, right? I know he's not had a lot of managerial experience, really. He's not had the greatest of manager experience. But he's obviously his second coach now, head coach at, well, his partner, assistant manager, I'm sure it is, to
Ronald Koeman
at Barcelona. So he's getting a bit of experience there, but he only started that like August, September. The thing is, if he was to come into Celtic, as much as Neil Lennon's a legend at the club, he would, personally for me, get more support for the club and the fans than anyone would. And I mean, like, if he was to mess up a couple of games, he wouldn't be as attacked.
It'd be the same as when we had Tommy Burns. Burns had an awful, well, we didn't have an awful. At that point, it was an alright
record. Could have been better.
But it could have been better. At that point, our record was shit. So it was with our previous managers. So, to be quite fair, all Tommy Burns had to do was really come in and win a fucking League Cup. Which, well, he did. He won the Scottish Cup, but it could have probably done a bit better, but it wasn't the greatest. But he gets so much support for the fans because of how much he loved the club.
No, I know. So if Henrik Larsson was to come in, personally to me, he wouldn't get as much attack on him, but he might shine. That might actually thrive him on the fact that he's at the club he loves. I know he was at Helsingborg, and that's obviously the club that he played with and stuff as well. He grew up with, supported, but
I
He's
bet
got
you just like that club near enough because
he's got a different
got them.
connection.
I'll get it. Remember?
Aye, and as far as I'm aware, he was fighting with the fans, physically
Aye,
fighting,
like
because
was,
someone tried to attack his son.
Aye, he was the team at that point.
Aye, so like I said, he could shine. There's managers in the past that have had horrendous seasons with one club and then went on to do complete success at other clubs. That's the thing. It's really a chance if we were to take it, but then do you chance his reputation? That's the thing. Right now, we're in a bit of a situation. I think it would be different if we were on some sort of like top form, far ahead of every other team in the league. But then
you need to build a team.
Aye, this is going to take experience to rebuild this, and that's why I think, personally, someone like Eddie Howe would be perfect. Rafa Benitez, I'm not saying wouldn't do a good job, but I just don't think he's. I want someone that's going to show a bit of passion for the club itself, and Benitez to me has managed that much big clubs. The Celtic would just be a job to him. It wouldn't be as passionate. You want someone like Eddie Howe who would come in for managing Bournemouth, getting them to success, getting a top half-table finish. I think 1 or 2 seasons that he was there, playing good attacking football, exciting football, and having a plan in place. That's basically what he had. You want someone that's going to have tactics and an idea of what they actually want to do with the club.